You land in Rome, ready for your holiday, and then you're stuck standing in a passport line for 2 straight hours before you can even reach your bags. That isn't a worst-case scenario. That's what's happening across Europe right now. A brand new digital border system was supposed to make travel faster. Instead, it's nearly tripled the time it takes to get through passport control at some of the busiest airports on the continent. And the people actually running those airports, they're saying on the record, this is not okay. So, what's going wrong at Europe's borders? And is it going to get worse before it gets better? Let's break it down. Let's start in Rome, at Fiumicino Airport, one of the busiest travel hubs in Europe. According to the airport's chief aviation officer, Ivan Bassato, the average time for UK travellers to clear border control here has jumped from 7 minutes to 20 minutes. That's a 3-fold increase, and Bassato didn't sugarcoat it. He called the situation, in his own words, absolutely not okay. At peak times, travellers are seeing queues stretch to 1 or even 2 hours. Families with children, elderly travellers, people missing their connecting flights. One family visiting from Yorkshire said what should have been a quick walk to the taxi rank turned into a 2-hour ordeal, kids in tow. Another couple from the US missed their pre-booked driver entirely because the line simply didn't move. This isn't a random glitch, it's becoming the new norm. So, why is this happening? It comes down to a new digital setup called the Entry-Exit System, or EES. Here's how it works. For decades, when a non-EU traveller entered the Schengen area, a border officer simply stamped their passport by hand. The EES replaces that manual stamp with high-tech biometrics. Now, every non-EU visitor has their fingerprints scanned and a facial photo taken the very first time they cross into the block. That data is saved and checked automatically on every future trip. On paper, the goal is tighter security, tracking who enters and exits far more accurately. And EU officials say it's working, pointing to tens of thousands of entry refusals and identified security concerns since launch. Sounds reasonable, right? But rolling out a brand new biometric database across 29 countries all at once was always going to be a massive headache. And right now, that headache is turning into total gridlock in terminal halls. Rome isn't the only hotspot. Head south to Faro Airport in Portugal, a major hub for British holidaymakers heading to the Algarve. Officials there have confirmed that 10-minute checks are now regularly stretching past 30 minutes. They've also admitted the underlying tech has suffered major bugs, including central server glitches that freeze checks in multiple countries at the exact same time. To manage the crowds, airports invested millions in self-service kiosks. Fiumicino spent €12 million on them alone. But leadership now admits passengers struggle with them, so they're having to push people back toward traditional e-gates. Oh, and there's another catch. Children under 16 can't use the automated kiosks. They have to be processed manually by an officer, adding even more time during peak hours. Multiply that across dozens of major hubs handling peak traffic, and a well-intentioned upgrade becomes a continent-wide bottleneck. Naturally, the travel industry is pushing back. Ryanair is warning passengers to arrive early and prepare for extended waits. Meanwhile, Airports Council International reports border processing times are up an average of 70% across Europe, with some lines reaching 3 hours. The International Air Transport Association even called for the entire system to be paused until next summer. Yet, Brussels maintains that disruptions are minimal and insists the rollout is going smoothly overall. That's a pretty massive gap between what officials are saying and what travellers are actually experiencing on the ground. Here's what you actually need to know if you're travelling. The EES is now fully operational across the Schengen area. This isn't just a temporary launch bug, this is the new standard operating procedure. The good news, though, it should get faster over time. The biggest delay happens on your very first crossing, when your biometric profile is built. Future trips should move quicker. But for now, though, industry experts warn these long queues aren't going anywhere anytime soon. So, if you're flying into Europe, get to the airport earlier than you normally would, especially if you're traveling with kids or passing through major hubs. Europe's borders are changing, and this is just one piece of a much larger shift. If you want to see what else is changing across the continent, check out the video on your screen next. And if you found this helpful, hit subscribe so you don't miss the next breakdown.